There's snow all over.
So as you can see, we've got a lot of snow, but on the fields behind me where the sun has been, it's starting to thaw, but there are pockets and areas that are still quite laden with snow. But we'll have a look around, and what I thought would be really interesting to do today would be to have a little look back and see how things this March compare to March in seasons gone by. So let's have a little walk around, both out here and also in that polytunnel, and then we can compare on years gone by. So let's start at the flower bed. Now it still does need some weeding, but I've not managed to do it because of the snow. There are some flowers that will come back, so I've got some perennials in there, and I will be sowing some seeds, and I really want to fill that bed up, but I think this season it's really going to come into its own. And then of course I've got the shed, which is a relatively new addition, and if we just look to the left, that's the area that I've started the wildflower meadow, and again I'm hoping that this season it's going to be better than ever. And next we've moved on to this bed, which I have been growing squash and pumpkin, and I had the frame and really successfully grew lots of squash up that frame. But I've taken it down this year and I've got different plans for my squash. So watch this space if you want to see what I'm doing with my squash this year. And this season I've got the onions in this bed, and there are a few in the end of what was the brassica bed as well. So here we are at the brassica bed, and I've got some onions, the red onions, just a few that wouldn't fit into the bed that you've just seen. And the only brassicas that remain are these purple sprouting broccoli. And I'm absolutely kicking myself because I've been harvesting from this and it's delicious. And just last week there was beautiful heads of purple sprouting broccoli all over these plants. I didn't harvest it, and blow me if the pigeons haven't been down and decimated them. This middle bed, all you can see is snow. It's actually an empty bed at the moment. There's nothing in that bed right now. And then this bed nearest to the polytunnel, you can barely see the edges, but they're here. There's some leek there. There are still some beetroot, but they need to come out. They're well past their best. And then just at the end there is the chives, which are just emerging through. But this is pretty much, apart from the chives and the leek, this really is a dormant or empty bed at the moment. I just need to get those beetroot out. And then here we are at the soft fruit bed. So this end is the raspberry canes, and I'll get you a bit closer in a minute and show you there are actually some little green spikes or leaves and shoots coming on those. And then completely covered with snow, that's the strawberry bed. And here you can just see those little shoots on one of the raspberry canes, and there are a few coming, but it's early days yet. And then again completely covered with snow, but looking quite good as it emerges through that snow, is the rhubarb. So it's getting a bit chilly out here. Let's get into the polytunnel. So despite the sun, my feet are in the snow and it's really quite chilly. Here in in the polytunnel, I have sown some seeds and the bulk of them are in my little propagators. I am definitely behind compared to previous years, but it has been cold and this is the third lot of snow that we've had that has lasted for a few days. So I'm just hanging fire until that warmer weather comes. But let's have a look at what we have got going. So as you can see, we've got the propagators with a few seeds in those. None of them have germinated yet, but they haven't been in all that long, so I wouldn't expect them. And then we've got some sweet peas at the back there, which are now uncovered, and my shallots. And then if we move on to this bed, it's relatively empty except for some chard and spinach. There is nothing in the hanging baskets. I've still got these little pansies in the pots and they're doing really well. And Victor, our tortoise, is loving eating those, as well as they're just really pretty to look at. The end bed here is empty. I have got geraniums in some of the hanging baskets and I did fleece them over winter. I've lifted those fleeces, so I've taken a bit of a gamble, but I'm hoping that they will come back. They were really successful last year and I didn't fleece them. I did lose a couple, but the bulk were fine. Then I've got empty tub, and the lemon balm, which is coming back, despite me having let it get really waterlogged. And then in this bed, we've got some carrots, which are doing okay actually. I was contemplating pulling them up, but I've been giving everything a good water. I think it was just lack of water through a couple of the winter months. I just got out of the habit, but they're coming. And then in this bed here, I have sowed some more carrots, no germination yet, but I wouldn't expect it because they weren't sown all that long ago. And of course it has gone a little bit chilly. Although here in the polytunnel, it's 22.8 degrees, it's only 7.2 degrees outside. So the polytunnel is always quite considerably warmer than outside. And then we've just got some empty pots, and just in the one pot there is some spinach. And just nipping back outside again, here on this table behind me, again snow covered, but I've still got some strawberry plants, but I've put the ones I wanted into the strawberry bed. So these were the runners that I took last year, and I've used the plants I wanted, so these are spares which I will be giving away. And then of course I've got the 3 new compost bays, and I'm absolutely thrilled with them. So this area really has changed quite considerably, and I only put these up last summer. So before I put those 3 new bays in, I had these 2 behind me. So one I've started already to dismantle, and I'll be taking everything out of that. And then this one I'm just leaving to rot down. And eventually, when I've used this compost, I will be clearing that out completely. And between the compost bays, I've still got this tub with some rhubarb that one of my sisters gave to me. And it's coming up, it's doing okay. I do keep thinking I should move it into a different place, but you know what, it's doing okay in there, so I think I will leave it for now. So it's been really interesting looking back at previous years, and for me the most exciting thing is to see how much has changed and how this plot has progressed. So I started off just with the polytunnel, and it's progressed bit by bit, 1 vegetable bed and then another 2, and then gradually we've expanded more and more. And of course I've got great plans for more improvements. Some will be happening this year and of course years going forward. So keep watching if you want to see how I develop my plot. I've got that greenhouse to go up, a fruit cage to go in, and some more beds. And I'm sure I can find a few other bits and pieces to do as well. I'm Rue, and this is Rue's Life.